Hey, it's Bridget. Welcome, fairy grasshoppers. Nice to see you. Today I thought I would take a real life experience and show you how you can use card decks as a tool to help you make some decisions, or not to just like ask cards to make a decision for you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about to get kind of a feel for what I'm already connecting to as far as outcome, as far as leaning toward inside of me, so my own intuitive inner guidance. So I'm using this card deck to help connect with my intuitive guidance, to feel into this topic area. All right, so we're going to use this card deck, a Sacred Traveler Oracle cards by Denise Linn. I will link these below. These are always linked below. These are the purple deck that we use so much here on Fairy Grasshopper channel, purple deck. And the topic is, I'm dealing with this real life scenario. I am really getting antsy. I am really getting, not even cabin fever, but I'm really getting this really strong craving, this intense feeling of need to get out and travel, to go beyond. I did to go beyond my borders here in Minnesota, is all I was going to say, but it sounds so silly, but it's a huge part of my opportunities. How do I describe this? It seems kind of silly to share this with you guys, but I need to really be upfront about this so that you can understand the scenario I'm facing here. Is I want to travel. I want to go to Florida. There is a place I love so much. As you know, I love to go to Walt Disney World in Florida. And because it's a huge theme park, and because Florida is a state that is not known for really being up as a population on health procedures and protocols. Let's just say it that way. I'm trying to be nice about it, you guys, but I'm afraid of the Orlando airport, okay? That's the... I'm like afraid of when I get there and people like standing too close to me and people not having masks on or having them below their nose. Like I don't need any extra help to be introduced to the viral stuff that's going on right now, right? Like I don't need that. And here we are in the winter in Minnesota. We're heading out of the winter. It's March when I'm recording this video, and I want to take a trip in end of April, is what I've kind of zoomed in on as far as money-wise. That's a good time to go, and hopefully by then, at least my husband, he's going to be in the next tier of getting the vaccine, so he will probably have his by the time I go. There's even talk of the big kids, the high school kids, going back to school full-time. They're hybrid, so they only go 2 days a week right now, but so there's a lot of change happening, a lot of optimism. I probably won't have the shot by then because I'm in a category that's too young, which is so funny to say that. But I'm really feeling, for my energy, like I get such a boost when I go to Disney World, just to be in the energy there, the atmosphere, not to necessarily have to be at the theme parks or going on rides, but being in the environment of the imagination and the energy of creativity, and knowing that all these people that are so talented created these what are now IPs, intellectual properties, and these amazing stories, and the writers and the animators and the actors and actresses that bring it to life, and the person that started it all, the businessman who had a dream about it, right? So I'm like super inspired just being there. I just feel like, wow, this is amazing. And it's like implementation of my biggest dreams. You know what I mean? That's how it feels, all these parts coming together. And I just love it. And it's sentimental to me for my family. My dad was a huge Mickey Mouse fan, Steamboat Willie. I grew up going to the West Coast to, here's the first card. I grew up going to this is the nostalgic card, because I said nostalgic, sentimental, that's what this is. So it'll give me information about my feelings about what's underlying this decision for me. So that's the first one. And I grew up going to Disneyland. So I started going to Florida, gosh, in the mid-90s, and to Disney World, and just fell in love with it. The variety of resorts and hotels and cool themes, and just all the different theme parks that are there. from Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Epcot, and this is gonna be like a mega Disney video, I guess. But this helps you get to know me, right? Like I love this imagination, this creativity, it feels so freeing to me. It feels lighthearted, and that's the kind of thing that when I'm doing especially deeper work like channeling and mediumship and healing, and there's been so much that's been going on the last year. Many of you may not realize this or know this. If you're new to Fairy Grasshopper channel or to my Above Life channel, you won't necessarily know this, but last year at this time in February, at the end of February and early March, I actually it was the last day of February I went down, and it was a leap year, so it was the 29th. So in the first week of March in 2020, I was in Disney World. I was there on a trip with my sister, and we were like the last group to be there, and then they closed a week, not even a week after we left, they closed the whole place. The whole place, like, closed. So we shut down Disney World. And it's weird to think that like a week, like not even a week before, like we went through the airports, nobody was wearing masks, nobody was hand sanitizing, it wasn't a thing, you know? It's just crazy to think about that. And so this bug in my ear, this energy started to kind of move right at the day that I would have left to go to Florida this time last year. Because it was a leap year, it was the 29th, but it started on the 28th, because we don't have the 29th, the 28th into the 1st of March. Like I started feeling this, I need to go. And I don't feel like I got cheated out of anything last time, because it was awesome. It was a great trip. I was sick on the trip, interestingly enough. I actually had a flu. And it was, I think, the good old-fashioned kind of flu, because it lasted like 2.5 days, like 2 days. I was tired for like a day and a half after, but I was like, you know, spending a lot of time in the bathroom, and I'll spare you the details, but it was awful. My stomach was so sore from being so sick. And I might have actually lost weight on that. It's the only Disney trip I think I've ever maybe lost weight on, but I was super, super sick. But my son had been sick. As soon as I arrived at Disney World, my husband let me know that my son was sick and had been up all night with like a 24-hour flu kind of a scenario. And so I'm like, oh, great. And so then that next day I got it. And I had that, and then it pushed through pretty quickly. And so I believe it was a flu, not the mega viral thing that's going on. So anyway, so I actually had to extend my trip so that I could fly home. And I was like, what? I'm missing like 2 days in the park and all that. And so I extended my trip and I stayed and all that. So this is about the timing. These two cards are about the timing of things, because I mentioned the timing of being there last year. And so it's been a year. So this is information about the timing. So the first one's information about the sentimental stuff, sentimental, nostalgic. And then these other two are about the timing. All right. So then I started getting this feeling of I really need to go. I even went to a little road trip here in northern Minnesota, because I thought, well, if I do that, maybe that will like quench my thirst for the need to like be by myself, because I need to be on my own. And like I usually do that like three times a year or so. I just go by myself somewhere for a couple days, and I recharge my batteries by spending tons of time journaling. I totally chill out. I eat healthy foods, and I maybe watch some just mindless television. I just relax and I rest. And I usually like to be in a place where there's a bathroom, of course a bathroom, but a balcony with a view. So whether it be like a lake or water or pretty hillside or whatever, I like to have like a view, right? So because I want to be able to sit outside and take in the air, the energy, what have you, and have a cup of coffee out there, you know, kind of thing. I like that. I need to be connected to nature, but without having to leave my space and just kind of feel in and regroup and just recharge. I need to do that. With 4 kids, 4 dogs, a hubby working from home, I mean, there's a lot, and I really want to plug in and just recharge my batteries, you know. But I also want to be very, very responsible. I want to make good, healthy decisions, and so I am very conscious of the guilt that I might feel, and I do feel, and I've been doing some EFT tapping about guilt, about, okay, so am I being risky unnecessarily? I don't really need to do this. This isn't a need, a must. Kind of trying to weigh out that risk factor and the guilt factor. And also then there's a money factor. So I got the feeling of guilt around the risking health and the health, because there is a risk, and my health, and then bringing it back home kind of thing. And then the other part is money. Like, trying to spend money on myself is hard. If I'm going to spend like $1,000, I am going to spend it on something for my kids, like tires for my youngest kid's car, or do you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Like, it's got to be like practical. Like, I have some money that I've tried to squirrel away a little bit to help when my kid number 2 goes off to college, because I want to help pay for some of that the first semester, help him get settled so he doesn't have to stress out and work too much. And I want to try to help him. And so I've been trying to squirrel away money for that. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, and it's going to cost like $1,000 to go if I go, which is, by the way, is extremely cheap. It's so cheap. So cheap. The airfares, you guys, were $100 round trip. $100! Oh my gosh. So money can't be an excuse, but then it's like, if I'm going to go, I'm like, okay, well, limit the risk, get a hotel room on property, so I just go there and I'm there, so I can walk to where I need to be, or Uber real quick, just with one other person in the car, just the driver and myself, if I need to get something, if I needed to, and a place with like a microwave and a mini fridge, so I can heat stuff up and bring some food or purchase some food at the store, and and then have it just kind of be in that space, and then be spending time walking and be outside, and not even going to the theme parks because that's an added expense. I just want to be there in the theming, which you can do when you're at a Disney World resort, because they have different themed resorts, right? But in order to have the microwave, you have to upgrade your hotel room, as you can imagine. Like, they consider that a kitchenette. A microwave and a mini fridge is a kitchenette. Are you kidding me? And so I need to upgrade in order to have that, so I can make healthy meals or make some like affordable meals, food in my room, instead of constantly eating out, which is a thing, and then you mobile order and you pick up your order, but constantly eating out for like 4 days is ridiculous, right? It's just crazy to do that health-wise and money-wise. So money's a thing. I'm very conscientious of the money and spending it on me versus something that we need in the house, like a dryer. We just bought a dryer, but yeah, that's a thing. About a year ago. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm thinking, okay, well, as soon as I spend money on myself, then all of a sudden I'm not going to have it for something else. You know how that goes, right? So let's do a card about the money. Insight about the money. Can you give me insight about spending money on myself for this trip? Give insight into that. This is going to be a long video, because you guys are just watching me do a reading for myself, basically. And there's a couple of cards. So this is money for myself. This is the vibe into, there's another question I want to ask about, and I think this is the card for it, about if I'm going to spend the money, then instead of cutting corners, I should get something decent that feels good to have, like a first experience. I have a place I've not stayed before, maybe not splurge, but spend a little more to get something nice enough that I'm not just like a hotel room with 2 beds and all my time has to be spent walking and journaling at other places because they're so much cooler than the place I chose to stay at. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Should I upgrade, get one of the nicer, because right now I'm looking at a value, because I'm trying to keep the cost like at $1,000, and that's so much money, I know. And I know it's a privilege to even be talking about this, so I feel kind of even guilty about that, but okay, money. So should I go up? Should I upgrade? Okay. And then let's talk about the feelings of guilt. So there's 2 cards for that. Okay, so I got a lot of cards here. So we're gonna start with the guilt, the money. Let's talk about the sentimental piece. Let's do that. Okay, sentimental piece. All right, so the sentimental part, this is really sweet, actually, you guys. It says, take action with passion, valiant courage. And do you know what this looks like to me? This is about my sentimental ties to Disney. this looks like the carousel, Cinderella's magic carousel. Look at that. It's fairy tale like, fairy grasshopper, fairy tale like. It really does help me connect with that childlike just sweetness, that lightheartedness, not taking things so seriously, because as a medium, things are really, really serious. I mean, I just channeled Anne Frank. And by the time you see this video, you will have, it's on Above Life channel. So yeah, so like my job, it's sometimes heavy, right? But it's important, poignant. And so it is nice to just go for it. And look at the little plus sign, the little red cross sign. It feels like to me, Bridget, you're safe, okay? And the red cross sign is connected to the blue, which blue is vision, you know, seeing ahead, seeing the future. And then there's gold and yellow at the top, which is the, with that flag or ribbon, it's the solar plexus and the sacral chakra. Sacral chakra is a pelvis where it's like desire and drive, and yellow is the intuition and spirit. So yeah, of course of course, it makes sense that I want to go. It makes sense. So I have to release my feelings of feeling bad about even wanting to go, because the want in and of itself, desire, when we feel bad just for having desires, it makes us not want to connect with what we want. And you guys, we deserve to connect with what we want. Don't be afraid of disappointment if I'm not able to actually go. Release the disappointment. Honor the fact that I'm connecting with desires and let that help me feel good, okay? That's where I'm at. Take action with passion, right? Feel the passion, absorb it in. Yes, let it fuel me. Just the idea of acknowledging I want to go makes me feel I can use that energy to make me feel inspired. All right, so good. Okay, so sentimental. All right, so the other two questions now, I can't even remember what the other two that I asked you guys. I should have written it down. I know my last one was about the guilt and around it, and then the money part. So I don't remember what my other was before that, but I have I have two cards for one. I actually have three cards. I don't know how I ended up with the third, because there were two cards. Okay, so the next one, whatever I said, I don't remember off the top of my head. See, now I'm in intuitive space, so it's hard to recall. This is why I write stuff down. If you ever see me on camera and I like look like I'm taking notes or something, it's because I'm trying to remember like this, if I have an outline or something and I'm going to do a longer reading for you or something like that, like a card reading, I need to make sure I remember which cards I pulled for what, because I won't. Okay, so these two were my next question, whatever that is. Oh, yes, I remember. See, I knew it would come back. Circle back around. About being there during the time last year, the timing, and then the timing of this, like what's the deal with the timing right now? Like I'm wanting to go, does it have to do with the timing? And I got two cards, Great Adventure and Vast Vistas. Take a risk and venture forward, is what one of them says. And the other one says, expand your horizons. So the Great Adventure card, this totally reminds me of the Pirates of the Caribbean. See how when you're doing a card reading, it's a little tough because you could totally be a little slanted to support your desires. Which is fine. So I'm going to go a couple different levels with this Great Adventure card. So hello, Pirates of the Caribbean. That's what this feels like to me. But it also feels like moving ahead. There's lots of different ways that I can have new experiences. So a great adventure could signify new experiences or different ways that I could actually tap into or connect to this need to travel. Clearly, there's a part of me that likes to explore new things. And so because there's a green flag up here and green at the bottom, I feel like that's the heart space. So the question is what makes my heart sing like Disney does? What opens me up to my creativity and my inspiration like Disney does? Because this has a lot to do with that. Adventure could be learning new things. I could take a class on something totally different, creative. Maybe I can learn how to sketch or something. Just an example. But it also says take a risk. And so that feels like it's okay to take a risk. Remember that first one with the Red Cross symbol? It's okay to take a risk. So if I just got these two, I'd be like, okay, go. It's okay to go. Right? So then the second one, though, with the Great Adventure card is Vast Vistas. Okay, so this looks like, okay, so I said this looks like Pirates of the Caribbean. This looks like Peter Pan, doesn't it? Come on, you guys. Come on, you guys. Give me some thumbs up. Put some comments. Of course it does, Bridget. See how I'm like wanting it to work? It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to say yes or no, go. I'm actually trying to get a feel for the timing of it. And so the Peter Pan energy is definitely this feeling of magic, of exploring, like what is possible. And it might not, like, there's more than just Disney. There's more places that maybe I want to go and could see than just Disney World. And I could consider taking an adventure as in a road trip, a really extensive one, maybe driving to the East Coast or driving down to Florida or Georgia, etc. And maybe it's because it expands your horizons. Maybe there's a different, instead of just Disney, maybe there's other, I know there's other places, but I love Disney. It just really, I know for sure that when I go there, I'm going to feel good about going. And there's not really a lot of risk there, except with the health thing right now. So that's a big except that. But I also feel like this might be, look at, there's a boat in this one and there is a boat in this one. Do you see the boat weight on there? See? Symbolism, ladies and gents, the metaphor of water is connected to the heart space. So what does your heart need? Expand the room, create space, vast vistas. Opportunity for connection. Maybe the energy of the ocean is part of this draw. Maybe it is. Maybe it's going to the coast. Maybe it's being around that huge oceanic bodies of water, that vibration. Maybe that's part of my calling or yearning. And maybe it's the time of year, like last year it was, end of winter, and that's where we're at now. And so I'm thinking about it, hey, this makes sense. Timing wise, it makes sense. I could easily do this. Plus it's beyond the spring break rush, and it's before the summer rush there. So the pricing is pretty good, and the crowd size should be pretty good as well. Like I said, I'm not planning to spend time in the theme parks. I might go one day if I go. I might do one day just to be able to be there and kind of sit and do, my goal is to like do sensory things if I go, because I want to have the sensory experience and find out a little more what it does for me energetically, intuitively. So that's one of the things I was thinking, hey, let's experience it this way, instead of as just a tourist kind of a thing or as a fan. So these are great. This is really colorful. Did you see all the colors in that? I love the colors here because that means there's a lot of variety. There's a lot of opportunity. So again, the timing. This could be like floral, springtime, summer, things are blooming, things are happening. It's definitely not winter because things are not frozen here. Things are moving. All right, so there we go. Yeah, good job, you guys. I got an extra one, right? I got an extra one. So this card is for, let me just make sure. This card is something in between what I asked about the timing and what I asked for about the guilt piece. I asked about the guilt piece. So I feel like this is part of maybe the guilt piece for taking risks, and because guilt is too layered for me. I've been writing about this in my journal for like 2 days, you guys. So the guilty piece is like, number one, I don't need to do this. It's not a mandatory required thing. It could be considered frivolous. So the guilt of it is like, is it worth the risk health-wise? And then the other part of the guilt is spending the money on myself. Like I spend money on myself, for like shoes and maybe a cute sweatshirt, crystals, rocks and stones I'll spend, like I'll buy something like that for myself. But it's like, to me, that stuff is like practical, but I don't just go and like buy stuff, and I don't buy like really expensive shoes, or I just don't do that. It's just, I don't know. I just don't. I just don't. So I'm not used to spending a lot, and to me, a lot would be like a couple hundred, aside from like a class or something. I didn't enroll in a class online for like $300 or $400. But I wouldn't spend more than that for sure. And the only time I spend more than that on myself is when I go on a trip or something. But then I feel like I have to justify it to myself. So I kind of have this argument within myself about value and worth connected to guilt. So here we go. The first card about this guilt situation is grace and gratitude. And this feels like Kuan Yin, Lady Kuan Yin. She's very compassionate. And of course, all the pink energy is that heart chakra energy, and pink is the color of compassion. So she is saying to me, Bridget, decision point aside, be nicer to yourself, okay? Be compassionate. Everyone feels guilt. Everyone feels like bad, or there's fear of criticism, judgment, and self-judgment is the worst, even though it feels like external judgment is the worst. We're always constantly beating ourselves up. That's what self-sabotage is. It's a natural negative thing that the brain does. But Lady Kuan Yin is saying, just soften your energy, sweetheart. Be compassionate. Can you guys help me with that? Can you guys promise me at least you'll try to be more compassionate with yourself? Like, whether you've had 2 candy bars today, although that sounds really good. Okay, now I'm distracted by candy bars. Chocolate, love chocolate. Or it's your 3rd cup of coffee for the day, or you didn't get done what you thought you'd get done, or you've been meaning to clean out that spot on the counter that's just getting stuff piled on it, whatever it might be. Can you just be softer with yourself? Can you just promise me you're going to try that and be a little more nice, kinder, just softer, not so harsh with ourselves? If we talk to other people the way we talk to ourselves, everybody would hate us because we would be a big old jerk, okay? So this says grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. And joy is a great word for me to journal on because I love the energy of Disney World. I would say brings out the joy for me. Really brings out my joyful, like, little girl self. It just does. I just feel so relaxed, and I don't have to like worry about other people's stuff. I get to just be and just do nothing if I want. Sit on a park bench, which is one of my things, my sensory things I wrote that I'd like to do. Sit on Main Street, USA, and with a cup of coffee. I might not be able to sit on a park bench right now because I think a lot of that stuff is like marked off, but I could sit on the sidewalk. I could sit down on the sidewalk and just look at the castle, watch the people go by, listen to the music that's kind of piped through. And you might not know this, but they pipe in scents too, like smells. There's like scents that come in. There's like vents. If you look, I'll try to find them and show you if I go this time and show you. They pipe it in so it smells like fresh hot donuts cooking, that kind of thing. They really aren't cooking fresh hot donuts, but it smells like fresh hot donuts or cinnamon rolls. It smells good, like and that's intentional. And so like just to take that stuff in and to look at the sky and to see the colors and just feel that energy, because that's like the gateway. Everybody comes in, so there's all this anticipation, energy. So that's joy. Like to be able to sit there and, oh gosh. And then, okay, so there's green here too. Do you see the green energy? The green with the gold. So the green and the gold. The green is heart chakra and gold is solar plexus. So your heart and your soul are connected together. So they're like, hey, Lady Kuan Yin is going to assist, and she's going to help soften the energy of self-sabotage and being mean to ourselves and judgment, which is connected so much to guilt, because guilt is the emotion that's connected to the judgment. So those two things, they work together. So we need the solar plexus, or our spirit, to come up and be like, hey, let's bring some joy. Let's expand your energy. Let's create some more room for some of this guilt to kind of dissipate a little bit, like fog, to clear with the sunshine of the solar plexus, the spirit chakra, so you can feel good, feel better. Yeah, and I feel, so that's the grace part. The gratitude part for me is the ability to feel joy. Even when things are not perfect and they're very stressful, I feel grateful, not because bad things haven't happened to me, but because I have the ability to choose to focus on the good. Okay, I want to be really clear when it comes to gratitude. I'm not saying, oh, thankful, oh, so glad all these bad things didn't happen to me, or so glad all these horrible things aren't affecting me directly. Instead of that, feeling it with grace and focusing, recognizing the power of choice to focus on the positive stuff, because there is. Like, there's a lot of good qualities to me besides the things that I can feel guilty about. Right? So that's where I'm at in regards to this. Isn't this beautiful? This also reminds me of the pavilions in Epcot. There are different countries, you guys. There's one for China, there's one for Japan, there's one for Morocco, there's one for the United Kingdom, which is one of my very favorites. There's one for Canada, there's one for the US, there is one for Mexico, there's one for France and Italy, and there's so many, you guys, there's so many. Around the World Showcase at Epcot, which is one of my favorite places. I love Epcot, love it, love it. Of course, I'm sure it'll be very different now, but So here's another one about the energy that goes with that, which is uncovering treasure beneath the surface lies great bounty. This feels like abundance, bounty, great bounty. This is about abundance. And the yellow, again, solar plexus, connecting with the spirit. And the little gems here are just honoring different options, different choices. This energy of the dragon, or also identified as like a serpent, connected to the goddess Isis, who is very much aware of her multiple choices that she has, and bringing in new energies into our lives. Uncovering treasure beneath the surface lies great bounty. There we go. And that was in partnership with that grace and gratitude card. So now I'm just tucking these underneath my leg here. There we go. So that was in partnership with this one. And then we have the money thing. The money thing, because that's just a little thing. And oops, sorry guys. I know, here, let's move this a little bit. There we go. I know that just sitting here and feeling I just got another card too. Just sitting here and feeling into this as even a possibility is such a gift. And so I'm going to recognize that with this card I just drew. Desert Passage. Trust that there's a divine plan. Trust. There's a divine plan here. Look here's the yellow and the orange again. Passion, sacral chakra, orange. Yellow, the vibrant energy of your solar plexus and your spirit chakra. And the fact that you're wearing green and walking through this decision, this difficult decision place is okay. That's heart chakra energy also connected. And look, is that the moon or the sun? Oh, I believe it's the sun. New opportunity, a new day, walking toward the future. Nice. And I even got a little walking stick that reminds me of sage wisdom, the energy of the wise woman from another deck that I work with, an archetype of the wise woman, the elder who knows very well. Thank you for that. So these are about the money and spending money on myself in this amount. This is a big amount. $1,000 is a lot to me. I don't know if it's a lot to other people, but it's a lot to me. Super a lot. And we're talking the difference between $1,000 and it's going to cost me more than that because I got to buy food, and if I want to go to a park, it's like $110 just to get into a park, to one park. And if you want to be able to go between parks in one day, it's another like $60. So it's like $170. It's a lot of money, you guys. And I'm like, how do I justify that? Oh my gosh, like just getting there will be great. But then it's like, well, am I going to be cool just doing nothing and just walking around and sitting in sensory experiences? Yeah, because that's not doing nothing. That's really activating my intuition and going in search of what is inspiring to me. Like make it an intuitive trip to really just boost my own self-awareness about my intuition and my joyousness, my joyful energy, lightheartedness, and then bringing that back in and infusing it into my work. Oh my God. All I need is a sponsor. Hey, that's not actually, you guys, seriously, that's not a bad idea. I have thought of, okay, so what kind of an event or service or something could I offer, like on a day or something, or over a weekend or something, where I can make enough money to actually upgrade my trip. So I'm not just bare bonesing it, I'm actually doing something for myself that I would do for somebody else or that I'd want for somebody else. And I'm treating myself the same way. Like I really want to do that, but I'm like, in order to do it, then I feel like I have to justify it by making more money. See, this is what's wrong with my thoughts. Because I'm like, oh, I don't deserve it just as I am. You know, I'm like, oh, good gravy train. Okay. All right. So here's the stuff about the upgrades and about spending the money on myself. That's a lot of money. Value, upgrades, value. It's about value. Okay. So the first one is traveling lightly. Simplify your life. This one feels like, see the music there? It's got like a mandolin on the back, and it's walking away from a bunch of junk, it looks like, in like a garbage can or something. I don't know. It's like, Bridget, let go of the baggage about money. Just let it go. Let it go. You're making it so complicated. I know that. I know I'm making it hard on myself. Just go. Just go. And this is a solo traveler. This person's by themselves. Travel lightly. Not a problem. And I do actually usually travel pretty lightly. I can just bring a carry-on and I'll be fine. However, I do have a thing for a free bag, so I think I can afford to check one. Oh my gosh, see, I've already looked into the money part of it. So traveling lightly. So like, lightly isn't necessarily about, oh, this is interesting. What's coming through is the light part is about light. Traveling for the light, to find the energy, to make your life simple. If you want to go, just go. It's like, just do what feeds your soul. You have to be willing to let go of the baggage, or it's going to be a challenging trip in and of itself. The guilt will come back. The feeling of doubt will come back. You'll inevitably be disappointed with something. It won't be the right view. It'll be too loud. It'll be stinky because there'll be cars or something, or there'll be loud neighbors, or you know what I mean? You're just asking for proof that you're not worthy enough. So if I'm going to go, I need to really embrace my light and go. Just do it. If I'm going to do it now, if I'm going to do it, which I'm about, I think 75% there now, you guys. Thanks for listening. Right. Okay. So the final card in relation to the value piece is this one. Oh my God. I'm seriously going to cry. I want to go so bad. I know it seems so silly to some of you guys, but I just want, it's my heart. I just need to be breathed by magic. Surrendering to the journey, release control. This is the boat again. Hello, traveling. This is the same picture as on the card deck. Sacred traveler. This looks like at Animal Kingdom. It's a park. It's one of the theme parks. There's, some of you might not know, but there's 4 different theme parks, separate parks that you can go to. Each one their own admission, okay, at Disney World in Florida. And one of them is Animal Kingdom. It's like a zoo. It's cool. It's so cool. It's very cool. It's very relaxing there. It's very spread out though. Spread way out. Lots of walking there. Oh my goodness. But there is a ride in one of the areas, and it's called, it's in Pandora, Navi River Journey. So if you've seen the movie the movie Avatar, Pandora is one of the kind of themed areas in Animal Kingdom, and it's connected to Avatar, the movie. And so it's all themed around that. And there's 2 rides there. One of them is Flight of Passage. It's more of like a active 3D kind of ride. It's really popular. I don't do those because I get like motion sick real bad. I don't do that. But Navi River Journey I've been on once, and it's got all this really cool lighting and it looks like this energy. Very much so. And interestingly, one of the resorts I was considering staying at, I was dreaming about this was like 2 weeks ago. I was doing kind of dream trips. If I was going to do a trip, what would it be if I was just going to go by myself and just do it like a solo trip and do a theme? Like one of my themed trips was, okay, go to Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is the Animal Kingdom Hotel, by Animal Kingdom Park. It's not like directly connected. You have to take a bus shuttle thing to get to the theme park, but there's savannas and they have balconies and you can overlook the savanna and the animals are out there. So you've got like buffalo and antelope kind of stuff, and you've got like zebras and giraffes just roaming around out there. It's like, oh my gosh, and you can have a balcony and you just look out. Oh, it's so peaceful. I mean, I've seen so many videos, you guys. I watch so many vloggers on YouTube for Disney stuff. I can give you a whole bunch of resources. And so I was like doing a fantasy trip, and I was like, okay, it would be this Animal Kingdom, and they have like 3 separate parts you could stay at there. And I'm like, oh, it's so expensive, but I'm like, oh, it'd be so relaxing. This might be a little bit, hey Bridget, maybe stay 1 night there if you can do it, if you can swing it. It's like $300 plus a night to stay there. And to get a balcony view on the side of the savannah, it's more. So it's probably closer to 400, and it might even be more than that. I don't even remember. It's like anywhere between probably 50 a night and 500 and something. Okay, so spendy. But I really would like to stay there. I've never stayed there. I visited the resort twice, but I've never actually stayed there. So I'd like to. But again, that's if I spend the extra money and just do that for myself. I might. We'll see. I might split too if I go. I might go, okay, I'm going to go to a nice resort for 3 nights and then 1 night at a cheap one, so I can feel better about it, balance it out. But wow, this is cool. So what do I want? Release the control, which to me, when I hear the word control, I think the mind. Get the mind out of this decision. Let go, let the energy flow, and then you'll know what's right for you and what's in right alignment. There's not a right answer, a yes or a no here. It's about what feels most in alignment for me overall, body, mind, heart, and soul. And body health, mind, mental health, and the decisions about, working on guilt and value and those kinds of things, money, that's definitely a mind thing. Heart, the sensory energies that support the solar plexus, the spirit, and knowing that my heart and my soul are really working together to go, hey, the heart is clearing for some of the mind stuff, and my soul and my heart are working together to say, what do you need, Bridget? What do you need? Because maybe there's other things you could do now, between now and the time you go, whether it's 2 months from now or a year from now, to implement in your life that will allow this energy to be flow and alignment, to allow you to feel more expanded and open, to allow you to honor your own value, no matter what that is and what that looks like, right? Don't just save your money for your kids to spend it at college, because wouldn't it be better to spend that money toward an awesome, experiential, beautiful Savannah view room at Animal Kingdom than a stinky dorm room that has shared showers? Yes. All right, you guys. Oh, thank you so much for being part of this experience and for watching me do my card reading. This is a very long video. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys are even going to make it to the end of this. Let's do a card for all of us, for you guys, to say thank you for you guys for being part of this experience. I have to get ready for a group that I have today, so let's do this and then be out and about. This is for you, wandering the path. Enjoy the journey, my friends. Enjoy the journey. Look at all that green, which we've learned is heart, right? And yellow, which we've learned is solar plexus. Okay, the colors are associated with chakras, the energy centers in the body. Look at that, wandering the path. Let's just wander, have our experience, whatever that might look like for you. Do this for yourself. Find a way to have the opportunity to have joy on the journey by enjoying things, maybe sensory-wise taking something in, or sensory-wise releasing or clearing something out, maybe a nice hot bath, maybe a gentle walk, maybe even if you're like riding a bike, like a stationary bike, you pop in your headphones and you listen to a song the whole idea is to get you feeling good, right? Isn't that nice? All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I am Bridget. I usually don't do vlogs or card readings this long, but I really wanted to show you this is the stuff I go through. This is the stuff I do and how I use cards. Actually, in my life, it actually works. It actually works. These tools that I'm sharing with you work. So go ahead and put in the comments below. I know you guys are like dying to tell me if I should go to Disney or not. Try to refrain from saying yes or no, but if you want to put something Disney related in the comments below, I'd love to read it. Whether it's a favorite memory you have of visiting Disney World, whether you're a fan of Disneyland, whether you've stayed at Walt Disney World and you have a hotel that you really like. If you happen to be what's called a DVC member, a Disney Vacation Club member, and you have points you want to give to me, I'm willing to take them. I'm willing to receive the gift of your DVC points so I could stay at Animal Kingdom, the Kidani Village, or the Jumbo House, or whatever. Would love to be able to do that. So I'm not shy about saying, hey, I can receive. I'm good with that. All right. Thanks, you guys, for watching. Have a great day.